Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of Broken Brains with Bruce Parkman, sponsored by the Mac Parkman Foundation, where we look at the issue of repetitive brain trauma, from repetitive head impacts that impact the lives of our veterans, of our athletes and kids, and repetitive blast exposure, which impacts the brains of our veterans, and what these conditions are doing to the brain health and the mental well-being of our children, our athletes, and our veterans. And why is this important? Because this is not trained in any nursing, medical, suicide prevention, or psychological curricula in this country. So you have to be well informed. So we bring on, players and doctors and researchers and authors so that you get that 360-degree look at the issue of repetitive brain trauma so that you can make informed decisions about those that you love and those that you know that might be struggling, so we can identify them, get the help they need in order to get back to their lives. Today, another amazing guest, George Visger, who's coming to us from Idaho, where he's out there building a duck pond right now. George is a former NFL defensive tackle who played for the San Francisco 49ers and developed hydrocephalus, water on the brain, from repetitive concussions during the 1981 Super Bowl season. After enduring 9 brain surgeries and a series of legal battles, including becoming the first NFL player to win a workers' comp case in 1986, George has rebuilt his life through resilience and determination. He went on to earn a Bachelor's of Science in Biological Conservation from Sacramento State, despite severe short-term memory loss and dyslexia, later working as a wildlife biologist, educator, and environmental consultant. In 2003, he founded Visger and Associates Environmental Consulting, and in 2010 launched the Visger Group, Traumatic Brain Injury Consulting, using his experience to advocate for brain injury awareness and athletic safety. George is the author of Facing Giants, My 38-Year Battle, a powerful memoir chronicling his journey through adversity, recovery, and purpose. George, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate you, sir.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys being patient with me.
Man, come on, dude. We got 3 businessmen on this phone. You know it never works out. It never works out, man. We got phones and texting, everything's going on. So, no biggie, man. No, but so how you doing, Mr. Visger? How you doing now, man? Everything good?
I've been blessed, man. I've been blessed beyond my wildest dreams.
Man, I tell
Truly.
you, yeah. Gratitude is so important as we go through life, man. I mean, it
Absolutely.
really is. It is, as I get older, I find being grateful every day really helps me get through, a lot. And
I mean, I was in some dark years for quite a while, but man, the sunlight I'm standing in now in my life is beyond what I could have dreamed of. Seriously.
dude, I am so happy for you. Let's talk about those dark days. So talk about your early childhood. How did you get into contact sports, and how long did you play, and how'd you end up in the NFL, man?
Okay, I'm the 5th of 6 kids. I grew up in Stockton, California, Northern Cal. My dad drove a beer truck. Mom stayed home and raised us in a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 0 air conditioned home. Okay, Stockton, it'll get 110, 114 during the summers, right? I mean, no, it cooks.
Wow.
So, we were just raised, my folks were salt of the earth, hardworking, raised with belief in God. You do the best you can. The old man always had a saying, shoot your best shot. And he used to tell us kids, he goes, I don't give a damn if you grow up to be a shit shoveler. He said, you be the best damn shit shoveler there ever was. And that's the way we grew up. And we grew up being grateful, as we were just talking. I can remember as a young kid, driving downtown Stockton. And when I grew up in Stockton, it's still, I think I looked the other, it's like the 6th most dangerous city in America, above New Orleans and New York. It's a rough place, but we're right on the edge of agricultural out in the Delta. So we grew up hunting and fishing, but there was a lot of crazy stuff going on. But as a kid, I can remember driving down through Skid Row and my mom looking out the window and saying, look, you kids complain about holes in your shoes. Look at that poor person. They don't have any shoes.
Right.
And those
Wow.
lessons stuck in my mind when I grew up. I was always very grateful, And so I started, both my older brothers played college football. I started playing football in seventh grade uh, on the West Stockton Bear Cubs Pee Wee Pop Warner team. Okay. Now, this is incredible. 29 kids on the team. 3 of us signed NFL contracts in 1980, and our safety went on to a Major League Baseball All-Star career and came in 4th in voting in Major League Baseball Most Valuable Player, Von Hayes. So we had 4 future professional athletes on this 29-man squad of pipsqueaks, and I was skinny and scrawny and slow, and the coaches nicknamed me Clang because I was so knock-kneed when I ran. They said they could hear my knees clanging clear across the field. But I went both ways. I was just a tough kid, And
Yeah.
we came out of the blocks, I mean, kicking butt and taking names. And our first 5 games I ever played, we scored 241 points to our opponent's 0. And I was going both ways, tight end, defensive. And I'm like, oh, I love this game, you know. And
Dude.
I truly loved it. From my first day in pads, I decided I want to be the greatest NFL player ever lived. And I always knew I wanted to be a biologist. I wanted to be the next Jacques Cousteau. Those are my dreams as a little kid. And so that first year in Pop Warner, I, I, I knew I needed to get big and strong and to get to college. So I started lifting weights. In our bedroom, it was known as the boys' room. So it was actually a 1-car garage. That one day, one of my dad's buddies came over, and old Sam Color, he says, "Damn it, Jack, you keep having all these kids. You need another bedroom." And they went out and they tore out the garage door and they framed it in and put in a window, and they put 3 built-in dressers, sheetrocked it, glued linoleum to the concrete, and then
Bam.
took 3 sheets of plywood, stained them, hung them on rollers, and put a closet rod across the back. So each one of us had a 4 by 8 foot sheet of closet door. And I grew up out in the boys with my 2 older brothers, and I started lifting weights out there. I built a little bench press out of our picnic bench and 2x4s, and I, I heard about raw eggs, and I was eating 6, 8, 10 raw eggs a day, milkshakes, and I kept pounding it, right? So 4 years later, I get into high school at Amos Alonzo Stagg High School. It was a 3-year school. So my sophomore year, after lifting weights for 3 years, I get into high school. I'm 6'2", 148. After 4 years of lifting. And I ran a blazing 5'7" 40. I mean, people in wheelchairs could beat me in 40. But, it was tough, and I went both ways, and there was no doubt I was going to be the greatest NFL player to ever lived, and I kept hammering the weights. And but between my sophomore year, 148, I come back my junior year, I'm 215. Now I'm 6'3",
Wow.
215. And every
That's
year I
wow.
just kept hammering it. I started slowing down growing up, but I started putting some husk on.
Check.
And by my senior year, I was about 235. I had good grades. I was a 3.0 student. And I knew my dad couldn't afford to send us to college. So I knew I needed to earn a scholarship. And I had scholarship offers all over the country. And I was going to major in oceanography. And I took recruiting trips to the University of Washington, University of Hawaii. They had great schools of oceanography. But
Dude.
my number one priority, wherever I went, I wanted cold weather. 2, I wanted hunting and fishing. And 3, I wanted a good football program. So Hawaii was out, too hot for me, right? Even though they had a great school of oceanography.
Yeah.
And so I ended up signing at Colorado. And I'll never forget the first words out of the old man's mouth were, "What the hell kind of school of oceanography does Colorado have?" I go, "I'll major in fisheries biology." So I was a fisheries biology major. My freshman year, my goals, I wanted to make the trialman squad, which I did. We ended up winning the Big 8. We beat Oklahoma that year and played the old Woody Hayes Ohio State Buckeyes in the '77 Orange Bowl.
Mm,
And then I won a starting position that spring ball. And so I started 3 years there. And by my senior year, I was up to about, 259. And, I've been starting for 3 years. And then I just, it was like, okay, next step was make it in the NFL. And I worked myself up. I was 275 by the time I got drafted. I was
that's
originally
a
drafted by
big
the
boy in the
Jets.
70s. 275 in the 70s was a lot of work, man.
You know what? And it was it because we didn't have anybody 280 when I was at the Jets. Well, I take that back. Gastineau was 283, and the guy ran a 4.40.
Dang.
What? I mean, he could beat. We had 2 Olympic gold medal sprinters and one other guy on the team that could beat him in the 40. The guy weighed 282, 283.
Massive.
But but
Fast,
but there
too.
weren't these giant 300 plus pounders back then.
Yeah.
So I was big, but then and I was benching like 460. I was in great shape and had never planned on getting cut. And I got cut at the end of preseason. And that just, I hadn't even, that never even crossed my mind, you know? And all of a sudden it was like, bam, a wake up call. And then the Niners picked me up early in the '80 season. And the first game I'm with them, we're playing the Cowboys. It was a Saturday game. So it was a short week. And they flew me in on Tuesday, worked me out, and then or I went in Tuesday, and then I practiced Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We fly to Dallas, and Saturday I'm lined up, playing the Cowboys. And first play I'm in, I get ear hold on a Dallas tight end trap by Jay Saldi, um, and I don't remember that game. I don't remember playing the Rams the following week. And a week and a half later, the trainers and doctors laughingly tell me that I went through 15 or 20 smelling salts during the Dallas game to keep me on the field. I'd come off sideways, they'd give you a couple, go back in. It was a joke. 28 years, and then I took a second shot later on in the game, the other temple by Doug Cosby, the other tight end. Like 28 years later, Cosby and I crossed paths and we've become very good friends. And I'd never
Wow.
seen the game, right? And so when we're talking years later, basically we became very good friends on our battle with the NFL to provide benefits for guys and to acknowledge what they knew and what they're hiding. So he came to me. They were looking at doing a documentary. He and a film producer friend of his, and we got to talking. And I'd never met him. We're on the phone, and I said, "Hey, Cos," I said, my last concussion was against you guys in 1980. I said, "I've never seen the game." He goes, he goes, he goes, I've got DVDs of all my game. So he sends me the disc, right? I plug it in that night and I call him the next day. I go, "Hey, Cos, this is Visger." He goes, "Hey," I go, "Hey, I watched that game last night." I go, guess who blindsided me in the temple that caused my last concussion, that caused my 9 brain surgeries? And he says, "Who? Jay Saldi?" I go, "No, you did, asshole." And we have been very good friends ever since.
Dude. Yeah, dude. So
So
this
I
was like,
played.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So I mean, I continued playing the game, and that season, and then early in the following '81 season, I blew my knee out early in camp, and I had knee surgery, and I was coming back from that when I started developing all kinds of major pounding headaches. I'd get a ball of light in front of each eyeball. When I had the headaches, my hearing would come and go with the beat of my heart. I'd go see the team docs, and they tell me it's high blood pressure. You take these pills, Visc. I mean, I'm 22 years old at the time, prime of my life, athlete. You wouldn't expect high blood pressure. So I'm taking these pills, and every night, man, I'm getting worse and worse. I mean, projectile vomiting every night, which I found later on, that's a symptom of intracranial pressure.
Hmm.
And they call it projectile vomiting because literally, I was telling the docs, I said, when I puke every night, I can hit the bowl from like 20 yards out and chip porcelain. I mean, it's like a
Wow.
volcano. So they kept telling me high blood pressure. And I'm rooming with 2 guys on the team, and we played Chicago that day, and I was
So you're
out
still
on injury
practicing, you're
reserve.
still playing ball.
No, I was on injury reserve, thank God,
Oh,
because I just had
okay.
knee surgery. I
Ah.
wasn't banging heads then. And, the last night, on top of all my symptoms, my eyesight gone, my hearing going, my roommates, Terry Totolo and Scott Stouch, kept coming in, checking on me. "Hey, let us take you to the hospital." I'm going, "Nah, man, it's just, high blood pressure." You got that warrior mentality. It's like, "Hey," and, middle of the night, I mean, my head's gonna explode, I can't see, my right arm curls up like an uppercut punch, and my fist just jams up under my chin, and I grab my arm, and I pull it out, and I'm thinking, "That's a weird cramp," but when I grabbed my arm, that right arm that I'm holding, I couldn't feel it, there was no feeling in it, and every time I let go of it, it would just curl back up under my chin. Now I'm laying in bed, it's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'm going, "Okay, I'm dying." And Terry and Scott had come in 2 or 3 times, I kept blowing them off, so I'm laying there, I can't see, my hearing's coming and going with the beat of my heart, my head's ready to explode, I've been puking my guts out so much, I'm empty, but now all I'm puking is bloody foam because I tore something, and now I've got this paralysis thing going on. So I start praying, literally, I'm like, "God, don't let me die like this, and please, God, let Terry or Scott come in and check on me. I'll let him take me to the hospital, but I'm not gonna be a pussy and go wake him up." I mean, seriously, and you can understand the mentality, you know what I
Dude,
mean?
I know, I feel you, bro, I
It's
feel you.
it's it's the guy warrior thing, you don't admit that you're hurt.
Yeah.
And so I finally passed out for a couple hours, and in the morning, days after games were really light days. You go in, everyone on injury reserve, you do your treatment. Guys that got dinged do the treatment. There's a couple of meetings, you know, we do a quick little workout, break a sweat, and you're out of there. It's a light day. So I go in, I do my rehab on my knee, and I'm pissed. Now I can move my arm in the morning, but I mean, I could barely lift a cup of coffee with it. And so I go in, I do my rehab on my knee, and I wait till the team doc sees everyone who got dinged the day before. This guy was a butcher. 3 guys from that '81 Super Bowl season successfully sued him for malpractice. Paul
Wow.
Hofer, our Len Eschman Award winner, which is the highest award you can get at the 49ers, operated, never played again, multiple surgeries, with 3 guys successfully take him down. And this was our orthopedic surgeon that we had to go see. He's the one that's telling me high blood. So I go in and see him after he saw everyone that got dinged. He's in his little examining room in our locker room, which was in Redwood City. That's where our facilities were at the time. I walk in his little room and he looks at me. He says, "What now?" I go, "You SOB." I said, "Don't tell me it's high blood pressure. My arm went paralyzed last night." And he rolls his eyes. He goes, "Sit down." I sit on his little table. He grabs one of those little flashlights. They're called retinoscopes, I come to find out. Flips it on, leans over, looks in my right eye, and this is how my book starts. And he says this: "Oh my God, your brain's hemorrhaging." I jump off the table. This is how my book starts. I jump off the table ready to kill him. He's going, "No, no, no, wait, 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 wait." He's fumbling around, and I'm just going, he reaches behind himself. He grabs the phone while I'm just mad dogging him and reading him the right act. He starts dialing a couple numbers. He scribbles something on a piece of paper, hands it to me at arm's length. And in my book, I wrote, he acted like I was radioactive. He didn't want to get too close to me. And he says, here, go home, lay down, and drive yourself to Stanford Hospital this afternoon and see this Dr. Adornato, this neurologist. So again, in my book, I wrote, my first thought was, "Phew, must be one of those mild brain hemorrhages, or he would have called an ambulance." Well, I mean, what do I know? I'm 22-year-old knucklehead,
You can't
my
even
knuckles
spell
in the
hemorrhage,
dirt.
right? Yeah.
I don't even have a college degree. This guy, well, I drove back to our apartment that I shared with Terry Totolo, who was a 6-year vet, and Scott Stouch was a rookie that year. I drive back to Foster City. I lay down. And my symptoms were such that every morning I would wake up with a killer headache, and it would get worse and worse as the day progressed.
Wow.
And by evenings, I would start that projectile vomiting. I start losing my eyesight. I go back to Redwoods, to Foster City, lay down that afternoon. I drive myself through Bay Area traffic, 30 something minutes to Palo Alto, to Stanford Hospital. Okay. See this neurologist. He takes one look at me. They want to do a CT brain scan, but the machine was booked up for, he said, a couple hours. I told him, and again, this is this is how the book starts. I said, hey, doc, I said, I'll come back. I'm getting close to my puking time. And he says, you drove here? He goes, you can't drive like this. I said, doc, I've been driving like this for weeks. And we argue. He goes, you're not driving. I said, I'm not. So he convinces me to hang out in a little room for 2 or 3 hours, a couple hours. They take me and do a CT brain scan, rush me in emergency brain surgery. So I had developed hydrocephalus, water on the brain. They drill a hole in my skull. This is all permanent. They've done it 9 times now. There's a tube goes in the middle of my brain. They put a pressure valve in the back of my head behind my right ear, and there's a little pump on it. I can feel it right now as we're speaking. There's a tube from the bottom of the pressure valve that goes down the side of my neck, through my right pectoral muscle, and they made a slice of my abdomen. It goes in my abdomen, and as we're speaking, it's draining spinal fluid out of my brain right now.
To this day.
To this day, and when it plugs up, I'm in a coma within 24 hours, and I'm dead shortly after. And I've had 9 of them over the years. I have 9 in 12 years.
So they have to keep
years.
replacing them? Is that what it is?
And there's no telling when. So I'm in intensive care for 14 days at Stanford. What do the 49ers do? OF. We can't let this out. When I had knee surgery, that was in the paper, right? I'm laying in intensive care. The only people from the facilities to come to see me were Terry Totolo, my roommate, and Scott Stouch. They're coming in telling me, hey, Bill Walsh told the team at a team meeting day you had a spinal test done and you're at your folks' house in Stockton recuperating. Well, Stockton, where I grew up, is only about 2 hours from the Bay Area, right? I'm laying there with tubes coming out all over. I'm thinking, wow, I'm getting phone calls. I'm getting phone calls from the trainers and our docs. Hey, Visk, we're looking at having a special made helmet to protect your shunt. You can keep playing. So I'm thinking I'm still playing, right? Before I get out of the hospital, so, and Terry and Scott know what they're telling them, and they know what's really going on. Before I get out of the hospital, they cut Terry. The day I get out of the hospital, Scott is being sent to New Orleans. We're literally passing each other as I'm going in the door of the apartment. Where are you going? He goes, they're shipping me to New Orleans. I said, where's T? He goes, they cut him last week. The only guys on the team that knew what was going on are gone. Now they're telling me I can still play. So I come back, I'm working out. Now keep in mind, my rookie year in 80, I think we were like 6-10 or 7-9, something like that. We were like mediocre. All of a sudden, 81 is the year we draft Ronnie Lott, Hall of Fame, Eric Wright, Carlton Williams. We have 3 rookie DBs starting. 81 was the year Dwight Clark made the famous catch. Suddenly, we're freaking rolling, and they don't want anyone rocking the boat. So nothing's being said. Now I'm thinking, okay, it's just in your mind, man. They're not covering anything up, but they're treating me weird. As we keep winning, it's getting to where I'm like, man, I feel like I'm headed for a fall, but I don't know what it is. I want this story out. The day we're leaving for this, and they're introducing me to people coming through the facilities. George Visger, veteran defensive lineman. He's on injury reserve. He had 2 knee operations this year. And I corrected our general manager, John McVeigh, one day in front of these couples. I said, this woman said, how'd you have 2? I said, no, ma'am, I had knee surgery, brain surgery. McVeigh looks me right in the eye with a look like, keep your mouth shut or you're gone. He says, no brain surgery, you had 2 knee operations. Now, they could cut you, and to this day, they can cut you at any time. And this isn't baseball or basketball where there's guaranteed contracts. You sign a 10-year, $100 million contract. You play one game and they cut you, they owe you 1/18th of that first year's salary, and the rest is all bullshit on paper. They don't owe you anything.
Yeah.
So that hangs over your head. My
It's a
rookie
machine.
year, we made 26 roster changes my rookie year after the final cut date. The 16-game season, that's an average of 1.5 guys a week are gone and new guys in. Where's Paul? Oh, he had a crummy game. He's gone, even though he played her for 5. Hey, where's Mike? Every week, it was just a revolving door. So that hung over your head. You'll do anything to hang on to your job.
Yeah, you will. Yeah.
So we're getting ready to go to the Super Bowl, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm headed for. Keep in mind, I had no idea that I was headed for a 38-year legal battle where I would be forced to win 5 work comp hearings, 8 work comp appeals, and 3 times it took me clear to the California Court of Appeals to keep me from getting into doctor-prescribed treatments. I had no clue what I was headed for. Injured at 22, I settled my case when I was 61 years old in
Wow.
2019.
They fought
61
you
years
that
old.
long, huh?
That's the title of my book is Facing Giants, My 38-Year Battle. 38 freaking years through 9 brains. The knee surgery they did on me, they botched that. I had to have 2 more in 84, including an experimental Gore-Tex ACL transplant. I've had decades of grand mal seizures. I mean, they fought me tooth and nail because I had no idea until 2010-ish. Well, I won my case in 86. I was the very first NFL player to ever won a work comp case, and I had no idea about this. And I was the only one till about 2010. So every time something with Visger came up, I was in the crosshairs. We
Yeah.
cannot keep losing to Visger. If word gets out, we're screwed. If word gets out, guys know they actually have medical benefits, we're screwed. So they fought me. They spent millions fighting me over the years. And you know what? God had his hand on me, man. And he pulled me through so many dark times. And I mean, and 2019, we were still standing, 9.5-hour mediation hearing to settle my case. 9.5 hours.
What? Yeah, I
But
mean,
here we
dude, it's
are.
it's a machine. It's a machine. There's
Oh,
no
it is.
doubt about it. Yeah. So they just decided that after I mean, there's no other probable cause of your brain condition, right? You didn't get in a car accident. Nobody punched you in the head. It's nothing but football. And
Well,
instead of just
this was their claim. It was congenital. It took 22 years and 12 years of football for me to miraculously come down with hydrocephalus, which adult
dude,
onset is very rare. When I was a kid, kids were born with it, and they had these big giant water heads,
yeah, I
and they
remember.
were
Yeah, yeah.
remember those before they
Uh-huh.
came up with this shunt thing, which is a pretty primitive valve. But I actually remember a couple kids growing up. You never knew what was wrong with them, and then you don't remember them 3rd grade on. You're going, oh well, they died, they passed. Once the brain started to solidify as you got older, those kids didn't live. You know, so yeah. But for me, it was it was congenital. It just didn't show up till I was 22 years old.
Yeah, dude. Wow, man. A 38-year battle. You must have had some pretty inexpensive lawyers or something, man. I mean, to keep going. What I mean, and so the whole time you're battling, darkness, mental illness, a lot of the you can't have an impacted brain without impacted mental health. Talk
Oh,
about your mental illness struggle, your mental health struggles, if you
so
don't mind.
so I'll go back because I kind of jumped. But like so, when I got out of Pop Warner, I played at Stagg High School and played on like I said, the All American. I mean, Hall of Fame high school team. I went on to University of Colorado. Played there, and then 23 suddenly the rugs and my game plan. I was going to take care of my family. I wanted to
Yes.
buy my folks a home. I helped my brother with my $15,000 signing bonus. My older brother, who's 10 years older than me, had just started a general contracting business, and he had 3 small boys, my nephews. I took my $15,000 signing bonus, of which I cleared 10. I took 7,000 and I bought my sister-in-law Andrea a brand new four-door Honda because their car had gone out and all they had was my brother's truck. You
Wow.
know, I drove my '63 Chevy long bed step side pickup my rookie year in 1980, and it didn't even have a window on the driver's side, and it was green at one time, and it became known as the Phlegm Mobile because it oxidized a phlegm color, and I drove that my rookie year, and I was
What was
happy
what
as
were
I could.
oh, what were the pay scales like that back then, like in the '80s, man? What do you
Back in '80, or '81, the average salary was, I think, 65 or 75,000. The highest paid
Wow,
player was Walter Payton. I think he made 600, and there was no one even making 500. He was just in a class by himself.
no
I
kidding.
mean, great players were making 2 and 300,000 a year, which is nothing to sneeze at. So
Back then,
when
yeah.
I was the 149th overall pick in 1980 by the Jets. I went in the 6th round. I signed for a $15,000 signing bonus, and I signed a 3-year contract, which had I made the team, I would have made 35,000 my first year, 45 my second, and then I would have made a whopping 65,000 my third year.
Beating
So
the beating the hell out of your body, bro. God dang.
even with playoff money, I made $106,000, including bonus, Super Bowl page in 2 years, and it freaking damn near killed me. And my whole life I've dealt with it.
Wow, man. Why do you I mean, it would seem so much simpler just to say, "Yeah, football caused this. Let's settle this thing." I mean, let's kind of act like men, right? I mean, we caused this. This happened on our watch, and I think a lot of people don't know. Even today in the NFL, I think you have to do 4 years before you get any benefits at all.
You got to be 4, and you want to hear something funny? The average career is 3.2.
They
So
they're
like
the house, man.
67% of anyone ever even makes it, and some crazy number is out with injuries but never qualifies for benefits.
Never
You don't think they
qualifies
have
for
that
benefit.
set up intentionally?
They're the house, bro. They're the house, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't know that, and then I guess with the collective bargaining agreement, one of the reasons that I guess the players could have gone for more is that folks from your generation really never made any money at all. Like these guys in the last 10 years, and
Right.
you're talking NFL players, Hall of Famers out there, getting pennies now. I mean, and
Right.
then living, you've got damage from your brain, they've got whatever they got, right, knees, back, and they got all the CTE related, the mental illness as a result of all those repetitive head impacts all the time that will end up with a CTE diagnosis. And it's
Oh, and you're dealing with injury. I mean, I never had a surgery till my last year playing. I had in my 12th year of football, I had a knee surgery and brain surgery. 2, 3 years ago, I think I had my 15th or 16th surgery. Now I had my lenses replaced. I had cataracts, so that it wasn't football related. But I've had like 14. I've had 3 on the knee they operated on. I had to have 2 more in '84 trying to repair what they screwed up. I had torn my ACL, which they never fixed. They took all my cartilage out in '81. I've been bone on bone since '81. I had my right shoulder reconstructed. I've had 9 brain surgeries. I've had elbow surgery, you name it. And we're still paying the price, you know?
Yeah, I got a good friend. He's one of my buddies at church, and he played with the Patriots back in the '70s, and he don't get anything, dude. Great guy,
No.
wonderful dude, and he's dealing with, I mean, just arthritis all over his
Yeah.
body, man. He had to
Yeah.
move to a first floor house because he can't do stairs. And it'd be nice to know that, the machine cared a little bit more about you players, man.
Yeah,
And
you
when it
know.
comes to the brain, I mean, you're talking every one of you has to have, the damage, that we know now, we know from repetitive ed impacts. None of you escape. You played 12 years of hard ball at that level, right? State championships, college win, going to the top and then heading to the Super Bowl. You play at that level. And you just think I mean, the damage to the brains wasn't even understood until 2006 to 9 when, Bennett O'Malley discovered what he calls CTE. That entire
You know,
generation of players and up until the CTE agreement is out there just floundering. Every NFL player I meet right now, and I'm not kidding, right? Every one of them has had mental health problems. And
I
yet
know.
the CT
Here's
yeah.
me. I don't mean to cut you off,
No, no, go ahead, sir.
but
Yep.
so here's the thing. So my worst, I had a history of concussions. Starting in Pop Warner. This isn't an NFL disease. So my worst concussion was my third year of Pop Warner. In a stupid, worthless bouldering drill, I knocked myself totally unconscious and I was hospitalized. I played games in high school. I don't remember. I played games in college at Colorado. I was defensive player of the week one year against Oregon, where I had my only interception of my entire career, 2 sacks, player of the week. I don't even remember the game. I
Good
literally did
Lord.
not. And 25 years later, and one of my best friends was playing for Oregon. We grew up together in Stockton, and maybe almost 20 years later, we crossed paths and we got to talking about that game. And he says, "Yeah, I remember." He goes, "Early in the first quarter, you made a tackle and you were face down. They came out and they helped you off the sidelines. You came back in." That's the first time I ever heard of that. I said, "Chris, I don't even remember the game." I said, "I was player of the week."
All right,
He goes,
so
"Oh, yeah, you
let
were laid out."
let me ask you something real quick. All right, so I lost my son, right? Suicide and a lot of contact
Yeah.
sports, and and what we're finding out now is that you think back in that day, right, where when you were in high school and you were 148 or 170, 180, these kids are in middle school at that age. I mean, at that size
I
now,
know.
and they
I
are
know.
big and they are fast. And what's your opinion on children playing contact sports while, they got a highly developed brain? I mean, developing brain. It's not mature. I mean, now that you know what you went through, right? I mean, and how that impacted you later on. What's your position on children, playing contact sports? Should we be waiting and promoting more brain safe activities?
That is a great question. Here's the thing. So I played on championship Pee Wee Pop Warner teams, championship Pop Warner teams, undefeated nationally ranked high school team, played in the Orange Bowl, played on Super Bowl, and my own son never played the game that I loved. I never
Amen.
let he want. I said, you know what? When he was younger, he wanted to play Pop Warner. I said, no, 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 wait till you get in high school. And then
All
by the
right.
time he was getting into high school, I went down to Dr. Amon's clinic. He was doing a big brain injury study on NFL
Yeah.
players. I'll be in like 2010 or 11. Everything really blew up for me in that time frame. I
Yeah.
go down there and like contacted him. He says, "We need you not for a 1 day." He goes, "We need you for a 3 day full blown neurocog evaluation."
Yeah.
So we flew down to Amon's clinic, and I took my wife at the time, who got divorced 17, 18 years later. She couldn't handle all this stuff, and God bless her. And I took my youngest child, Jack, my third child, and I wanted he was maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12, I can't even remember, but 12. But I wanted them to talk to the doctors when I wasn't in the room, because you ask us ball players or vets or men in general, "How are you doing?" "I'm doing good, doc." And people behind us are shaking their head going, "No, he
Yeah.
isn't."
Yeah.
And so I wanted them to talk to doc. We do a 3 day neuro evaluate, and we sit down with Dr. Amon and his main doc, Dr. Willemeyer. He has my SPEC scans, which I use in my talks, and my brain SPEC scans are just full of holes. He says, "It's a miracle." He said, "You can even function with the amount of brain damage you have." And it is a miracle. I'm telling you, God has blessed me. And
Yes.
we're walking out of this
Amen.
Amon's clinic after 3 days. We don't even get to my truck. And my wife, Chrissy, at the time looks at me, and my son Jack is walking next to me. She says, "Jack will never play football." And he looks up at me, and I looked down at him. I said, "You know what, bud? I cannot argue with your mom." I said, "You will be great at whatever you put your mind to because you have it. You've got
You
the
have a
visitor
brain,
it."
right? Yeah.
But I mean, you
Yeah,
have
dude.
it. You have that drive. I said, you
Yeah.
don't need to beat your brain
Ah,
out.
yeah. No, no. And
He went on to letter in 4 sports in high school, scholar athlete, amazing kid, and never played football, and he's healthy,
you know
you
what,
know?
George? That's where I failed. I'm a semi-pro rugby player, and
Right.
of course, I didn't know that with all my veteran stuff, all my Green Beret stuff was hurting my brain. So my son said, "Hey, Dad, I want to play football." I had no I'm like, "All right, you wrestle, but they have pads that hit the mat." I'm not thinking about the brain
Right.
moving. Then football, I'm like, "All right, you're gonna have helmets and all this stuff, and you're gonna go." And I told him, "Get on the line." He goes, "Why, Dad?" I go, "Well, everybody wants to be a quarterback or a running back, bro. Nobody wants to be on the line. You'll be able to start every game." He goes, "Okay, Dad." Well, hell, I didn't know the line was the worst place for the head smashing, And I'm like,
Every single play you lead
I'm
with your
making
head.
all these stupid decisions, bro. And because I never had that, and of course, you're be able to pass that on to your son because you've been harmed, man. I mean, you have been hurt. And thank God the Lord's been looking over you to get you to this point. And I just never had any comparison to say, bro, pick one or the other. I had no idea that the two
Yeah,
together was going to blow him up like this. And then, of course, we went snowboarding after that. So you're talking 10 and a half months. And now we know it's these little ones. That's the risk. It's not the
it is.
concussions. They don't
It's the
years
repeated
and years
subconcussive
of
hit.
that. Yeah.
You know
And
what?
and so that's
And
why,
I'm so
we're
sorry. I am so sorry about your son too.
uh
Believe me. My heart goes
thanks.
out to you. God bless him for the demons he was battling.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
lost I've lost 2 very close friends that I worked with for years. If you're familiar with KUIU, KUIU, you see hunting and apparel, you see it all
Yeah,
over the
those are
country.
dude, those are great, great. I mean, I couldn't afford it back then. They were
Okay.
high that's high-end
So
hunting stuff.
Jason Harrison, who founded that, played on the Niners 15 years after me, played on the Niners practice squad in 95. He played on the Broncos practice squad in 96, went on and founded Sitka Gear, sold that, built
Yeah.
KUIU up to $50 million. And a few years ago, he called me up and he was a hunting buddy of mine. I'm an avid hunter. He says, George, they took a shotgun to bed with me last night. I'm driving. I turn around. I have him meet me down at the hyperbaric clinic in Sacramento. I've had 270 some odd hyperbaric treatments over the years. Those have saved my life.
I heard
That and
great
Dr. Barry
things.
Sears stepped in years ago and started sending me gallons of his omega-3 fish oils and natural antioxidants. So I drive down to the clinic. I meet Jason there. I said, hey, man, you're not going down that rabbit hole. Introduce him to Mike Greenhall, my buddy that owned the clinic. I call him Brother Mike. He treated me for years for free. When the travelers quit paying, I slept on the floor there for 2.5 years when I was homeless. Brother
Wow.
Mike Greenhall is an amazing guy. He starts treating Jason. I'm back into these giant legal battles. I'm finally into Center for Neuroskills getting treatment 4 years later. One of my nephews calls and he says, Uncle George, Jason took a shotgun to bed with him last night and blew his brains out
Ah, dude.
with his kids in the house. And he loved his kids.
You know what? When that was published, I remember this now because I was hunting a lot back then. I took
Yeah.
down a grizzly. I went on some really
Wow.
I was on some hunt I was on hunting, and they never mentioned he played football.
Really?
Yeah. They
Really?
never mentioned I cannot remember them saying football.
Yep.
And that, that now that suicide, because that's the thing, George, is we don't have closure unless we understand the whole picture. When my son
Exactly.
took his life, until that coroner asked me if he played contact sports, we
Yep.
had no clue why that young man ran off a goddamn cliff. And then when
His
you
mom,
say, oh, he played contact sports, or yeah, he was a very successful businessman, took it up to 50 million, but he took his life, you
yeah.
know, oh, but he played football for 15 years.
Yeah.
Well, now we have, we might have a little bit of closure here, a little bit of rationale as to why that man was suffering.
It helps you would know better than anyone. It helps the family a little bit. It doesn't ease anything, but at
No,
least
no.
it gives you it wasn't your loved one doing that.
And I'll tell you what, George, and I believe in this wholeheartedly. The reason that men like him, Junior Seau, my son, Vincent Jackson, Dwight Jones, right? All these players are not here is because they suffer schizophrenia,
Yeah.
which is like my son. And you're being told to do some of the most horrific, immoral things going. And these men are moral and they
Yeah.
struggle with these thoughts to the point where they say, you know what? I am not going to do that. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm
Yep.
fixing this.
Yep.
And that's what my son did. And that's what that man did. They were protecting their families and their loved ones from these crazy thoughts that are caused by the damage done to our brain
Yep.
by these contact sports and repetitive blast exposure in our military.
Absolutely. I lost another one on June 2nd last year. I'm standing in Silver Creek, Idaho, fly fishing with one of my old Colorado teammates, one of my closest hunting and fishing buddies from Colorado, Brian Rodeo Bow McCabe. He played linebacker literally right behind me. Part of my job was to protect him and keep the old lineman off of him so he could make tackles, right? And we had this little thing before games. He would just look at me. He would tell me, man, just watching you get mentally ready, he would get pumped up. So we had this little thing. We would just stare. We wouldn't say a word before games. We would just stare at each other. And I'd just be shaking my head like, let's go. Let's freaking go. And so about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years, I'm up in Seattle where Rodeo was living with his family, and another one of our teammates, Pat, Pat Dunn, on that dinner with these guys and their wives. And I don't drink. I had to quit drinking in '82 after I was arrested 3 times after my first brain surgery. They found I have brain seizures from alcohol, so I had to quit drinking. I quit drinking.
Not a bad move.
No. So Rodeo's looking at me with this weird look in his eye, and I think he's at dinner, and I think he's giving me the look, right? So I'm like this, man. I got the brows going. I'm just shaking my head. I'm not saying anything. I'm eating my meat, and I'm just going. I'm thinking, let's go. Bring it on. Well, unbeknownst to me, he was having a stroke. And
Wow.
that night, I just thought he'd been drinking a lot, and he was starting to slur, and his face. And like I said, I don't drink, so we kind of broke it up soon after that. And everybody went their way. And that night, his wife Lisa called me. She says, "George, this is Lisa. We have Brian down at the hospital. He's having a stroke." So ever since then, Rodeo, he lost his business. He can't read. He can read like one sentence at a time. Vertigo. He loses. So June 2nd of last year, I'm standing in Silver Creek, Idaho, with my buff brother Rodeo Bow right by my side so he doesn't fall over in the current. We're fly fishing. I get a phone call from Mark Davis. Mark Davis, I played Pop Warner in high school with. That's as far as he ever went, back in Stockton. 2 or 3 years earlier, he had called me up, Visk, man, my brain's all effed up. My brain's effed up. I said, hey, brother, this is what I do. I've done hyperbarics. I told him all my non-pharmaceutical stuff.
Yeah.
He was really
Non-pharmaceutical. Yep.
non-pharmaceutical stuff.
Right.
So he was really, really struggling. And so I even drove down with a buddy of mine. Every year, our football team at Stag High, they have a big crab feed fundraiser to raise money for the whole athletic department, but a lot of it goes. And so, I'm kind of a big deal down there. So I go down and I sign pictures and help. And so I said, hey, bud, I said, we're going to the crab feed this year. I'm driving down to Stockton. I'm picking you up. Got him a ticket. I said, you need to be around the family. Our team we played for we named ourselves the family. We were so damn tight. And I take him to the dinner. And man, 2 years later, when I'm standing in Silver Creek with my brain damaged Colorado buff brother, I get a phone call. Hey, Mark Davis, how you doing, brother? I heard this strange voice. No, George, this is Sean, his son. And I go, yeah. He says, my dad hasn't been answering the phone. I came over here today. He killed himself. He's sitting in his recliner with his phone in his hand. I see he's been trying to call you. I've lost a couple close guys that I literally worked with. Not to mention all these other guys that we know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Junior Sale, this Justin Strelzik, the Mike Dewerson, Hall of Fame. I mean, all these guys.
Right. And he was NFLPA head, when they tried to shut down that CT shit.
and they're shooting themselves in the chest so their brain can be tested. They
Yeah.
can think that far out, but they can't think what they're doing to their families.
They're hurting, man.
That is
They're
what how
hurting.
horrible this disease is, as you well know, better than
Yeah.
anyone you know, you know?
Yeah.
And,
We've got we got so far to go. And then you look at the collective bargaining agreement, it covers dementia and all these old age. Yet every NFL player I have talked to, I had one guy that said he wasn't hurt after 20 years of offensive lineman. I'm looking at him and he's very slow talking to me. He's like, yeah, but he's trying to get a coaching job, right? And who
yeah,
can blame him, right? But I'm like, yeah, buddy, you're dinged up, man. You
yeah,
cannot hide this, man. And
yeah,
the longer you hide it, and pretend that it's not there, the worse it's going to be. And we got to, it's just crazy because everybody I've met that's played that long, and I'm talking even D1, they're all effed up.
they
And
are.
they don't know where to go. One of my buddies is a coach. He tried coaching. He's a big, massive lineman, and he had 4 NFL players that were coaches on his team,
Yeah,
every one of them struggling. Most of them, I think, didn't make the 4 years, right? So they didn't have the benefits, right?
right,
And
right.
he's like, Bruce, you need to talk to every one of my men and help them. You're the brain guy. And I'm like, all right, dude, where do I start? And we'll do it. We'll do it. But it's
Can you see these? Can you see what I'm holding?
yes, sir. I can't
Okay,
read it, but I see, yeah.
okay. I have 40 something years of this is every day of my life. I can tell you what I did today. I write notes down. I get up in the morning. I drove here. I'm speaking with so and so. If I don't do this every single day and then read through the prior week or two to reinforce things, it's gone. I have cases of these.
Wow.
And people can ask me a question. Hey, Visk, when you were a wildlife biologist with Jones and Stokes, uh, did you ever do, Kit Fox surveys? And I'd go through my notes and I'd go, oh yeah, 95, 96, May, June. Seriously. And
Wow.
I can give them day by day what I did, even though it may not be here in my mind. And I learned
This
many,
is
many years ago that one thing I've learned is nobody remembers like they think they do. Because I have had people call me when I was running my own businesses, environmental consulting business and things. I'd have clients call up and just totally livid. Hey, you were supposed to do this survey for me, blah, blah, blah. And we can't break ground yet. And I'm going, whoa, time out. They go, yeah, I called you like a couple weeks ago and I'm panicked, right? And I'm going through my notes. I go, oh, you called me 17 days ago at 11:14. I would literally do this. My phone rings. I'll write 11:14. As I'm talking,
wow.
I'm taking notes. Okay, we're done at 11:29. And I'm pulling up the conversations I had with clients. This is what you said to me. This is what you asked me to do. And this is what I did. And I've had so many times where people go, well, that's not what I meant. Well, you know what? I didn't know what this is what you told me. It has saved my
Good
butt.
for you.
And what I found out,
I need to do this.
everybody does because nobody remembers like they think
I
they
don't
do.
remember anything. Well, that CRS, man, that's what I got, bro.
I mean,
Can't remember anything.
I guarantee
Uh,
you, nobody does. No one thinks they remember like they think they can. I mean, I mean, I have tons of these boxes. Oh,
good for you, man. And you're good, man. I can see and hear you. You're good.
you got it.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Wow, man. That is what an amazing story, man. Well, George, I am so happy you came on this show, bro.
Well,
I
thanks for
cannot
having
tell
me.
you. No, dude, this is amazing. I'll come out there and drink a near beer with you any day, man, and get a
Anytime,
cup of
man.
Coke.
Hey, would love to have you. We've got a tiny home on the property. We love having folks out here.
Ah, dude, I'm an
We're in
Army guy. I'll
heaven.
bring a sleeping bag and a Gore-Tex poncho.
I'll take you out hunting or fishing, man.
Dude, I got a bunch of rifles rusting in my safe. I got to do something with them. I got a bird gun in there. I got to do
Hey,
something with it.
last Saturday, I just got back from a 5-day, 26-mile backpack deer hunt. I killed a big bodied buck. I was 7 miles from my truck. I boned it
Ooh,
out. I packed out, I weighed it. I had 80 pounds of boneless meat, a 24-pound day pack and pack frame, my 7-pound rifle at 67 years old, and I hiked
good for
7
you.
miles back to my truck
Good for
and
you,
butchered it
man.
myself when I got home.
Hey, at this age, if we're not doing that, like I still rucksack march, and my neighbors, I'm 63, they're like,
Good for
"What are
you,
you
yeah.
doing? Why?" I'm like, it's low impact. You
It is, yeah.
know? But yeah, we got to keep going, man.
Oh,
And dude, what an
yeah.
amazing story. What an amazing journey. And I am so thankful the Lord has been the presence he's been in your life, sir.
I'm telling you, man,
I mean,
he's got me. There's no doubt in my mind. He has put me through these storms for a reason, and that is to help other folks dealing with what I've had to deal with, and to pass on what I've learned. I have the three E's that I try to do. It's educate, empower, and
the third one,
anyone
man. If I have a list of three, I can never remember the third one, bro.
educate, empower, and encourage. So those are my three E's when I'm talking with people dealing with brain damage. So I
Love
try
it.
to educate, empower, and encourage. And you know what? There's help out there. It's not all this freaking in 2010 they had me on 4 different dementia medicines,
Yeah.
anti-seizure pills, and sleeping pills all at once. I couldn't find my way home from work twice. A town that I had driven to for 17 years, an hour from my office, I had no idea how to get there.
Wow.
The
I
doctors in
mean,
2010, you know what they told me? Well, George, you know you have frontal lobe dementia. There's no cure. You need to turn in your driver's license, file for disability, and get your finances in order. 2010, I go, what are you telling me? I had 3 small kids. I was running. They said, well, you're never going to get any better. I got into hyperbaric oxygen treatments, high dose. I was doing 18 grams a day of omega-3 fish oils to reduce inflammation, ameliorate
yeah.
inflammation in the brain. I
Yeah,
was
man.
doing natural antioxidants like cranberry juices, blueberry. I started working my brain like a muscle, doing memory games, puzzles.
Yeah.
I got back in shape physically. I started meditating. I started praying. And after every 40 hyperbaric treatments, I would go back down to Dr. Amon's clinic and do a 7-hour neurocog evaluation. And after my 160th hyperbaric treatment, I was in my late 50s. My neurocog memory scores had improved 14.3%, and I quit all my damn dementia meds.
Dude, thank
Here I am,
God, dude. Yeah.
67 now. 10 years later, I take one little tiny dose of Boost Par. And other than that, and I stayed on my anti-seizure stuff. I can't afford to have a seizure and kill
Yeah,
someone.
you gotta do
That's all
that,
I
man.
take,
But
except for natural supplements.
dude, this non-pharmaceutical approach to brain health is absolutely what we need to do for our athletes, our veterans. Hold on there, baby. Dog's got to go out. Hey, come up here. We'll put you on TV.
There you go.
Ah, she's a little beast, man.
Oh,
She's like,
yeah.
this was, yeah, she was our, she's been around since we lost our boy. She used to sleep
Wow.
with him and stuff, man. So and she's getting old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll tell you what, sir. Let's keep driving on. I do want to. What an amazing show, man. I mean, for you to come on and talk has been a blessing to us and our audience, and we look forward to not only encourage you, let us know what we can do for you
Yep.
because we serve others. That's what we do here at this
And
foundation.
that's what I do. My mission is to help others. So people can go online and order my book. It's coming out
Okay,
right now.
so right now, this is what I love to do. So the next 5 minutes are yours, George. Take it.
Thank
Talk about George. Where do they find your book? How do they get a hold of you for speaking events or
Perfect.
whatever? The floor is yours, sir.
Perfect. I appreciate it. But so here's what we're doing. So you can go to georgevisger.com. The limited edition, personally signed hardcover. They only made 200 of those. Those sold out. So now coming up in another probably another week or two, probably 2 weeks, the paperback and hardcovers will be available at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Ingram Sparks, and you can go to georgevisger.com. You can pull up all my info for I do speaking engagements, I'll do fundraisers for folks, I'll go sign pictures or whatever. My books, I'm donating 50% of the profits to anyone that posts a link to my book to either their own nonprofit, or let's say it's a high school athletic group, or the brain injury recovery group of their choice. So I have 40 some odd years of valuable information that I have gleaned and over the years on my own.
Hard fought.
And I want to pass it on. And that is my mission in life. So go
Oh,
to
sir.
georgevisger.com and you can order the book, and it's coming out. And we're gonna be doing book signing tours around the country coming up soon. As soon as I get them in my hands.
If you come even close to Florida or North Carolina, let me know, man. I will meet you.
I will. We're gonna stay in touch. I was
Oh,
out.
we
I
are.
actually did a week, 2 weeks, 2 years in a row with Ricky Williams. Heisman
Ah,
Trophy one. So
yeah.
he did a special week long at the Epplinger Clinic in Florida several years ago. He invited 7 former players to undergo this intensive craniosacral therapy for multiple days. And
Wow.
then I was the only one he invited back the second year, but I made some good connections out there in Florida, and we
Yeah.
did 7 hours a day of intensive craniosacral therapy.
No, they can't hurt.
And
That's for sure, bro.
yeah,
They can't hurt.
so you know
Good.
what? I've tried all kinds of stuff. If it works for me, I use it in my toolbox. If it doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't work for someone else.
Right.
But
Yep.
I have done electrostimulation, craniosacral, near infrared light therapy, hyperbarics. I mean, you name it. And so hey, whatever I can do to help you guys out, let me know.
George,
And
really appreciate it, man.
open invitation to come out in Emmett, Idaho. And I'm running
I
a
got
head of
I Dude, I gotta do something with these guns. They're just sitting around here waiting
hey,
for looters after a hurricane. That's all I got.
plus we're running a head of chickens. We got our own
Ah,
eggs every day.
dude, yeah, man. Well, me and my boy, we raised chickens and pigs, dude.
Awesome.
He was a pig feeding dude, man. We love
Awesome.
pigs. All
Awesome.
right, well, we're coming out your way, George, and
All
thank
right,
you
buddy.
so much. And
Appreciate
may
it.
God bless you and your organization, man.
God bless you too. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, folks, another great show of Broken Brains. Really appreciate what a show, man. Come on, this is why people watch this podcast. Don't forget, free book. Go to the website. Youth Contacts Broken Brains. Get informed on why your children need to wait before they start, becoming like me and George. Right? Football's cool later on in life, man, and then don't roll that dice. Don't forget our app, our Head Smart app on Apple and Google Store, or Head Safe app on Apple and Google Store. So from all of us to all of you, like us, subscribe us, push us out, and don't forget, if you got children, they only got one melon. Take better care of it. Become informed on this issue. We'll talk to you soon. God bless you all. Take care. Then we'll see you next time on Broken Brains with Bruce Parkman. I'll talk to you later. Take care.